to say something, please raise your virtual hand.
All right.
Pass it
I'll
over
give the
to Audra.
introduction. Oh, thanks, sis. So, first I want to apologize because I'm traveling, but I was out doing the Lord's work in Waynesboro. So, I'm hoping my signal doesn't mess up, but I'm so happy to introduce our special guest. He is such a personable, funny, and down-to-earth person. I'm excited to hear him speak because he can touch on all of our topics tonight. So Black Love, he has been married for 8 years to the beautiful First Lady Carr and his two beautiful daughters, Anaya and Avery K. Black businesses, he has a thriving clothing business, Full Armor, the brand. Everybody should go check him out, but I'm pretty sure everyone here has already. And I had to wear his shirt, of course. So I'm just loving the brand. Seriously, it's a very good brand and great quality shirts. Also, Pastor Carr is a great pastor and even better preacher. Such a great man all around. So the next voice you'll hear is none other than Pastor Aaron Carr, all the way from New Jersey. Thanks so much for joining Weekends with Sis, Pastor Carr. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. When I first heard about you guys, doing your interviews and your discussions and things of that nature, I was definitely excited or curious, to kind of jump on with you guys. So I just thank you guys for having me, and blessed to be here, and hope we have a great conversation,
Yes. So, thank you. I don't know. I have something in mind already, sis, Audra, to talk about. So I was thinking about, let's start with the first topic. I'm really hoping people join because Chris, all the way from Mississippi, he promoted us on Clubhouse to his club in the morning. He was like, oh, you need to come. And I shared the flyer with him, but it could be the time difference. But the good thing is we have this recorded. So is my signal good?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about the first topic, Black love. So, Pastor Carr, I want you to touch on this any way you want to. So, how much did it take, or can you give us some tips on how to stay married for 8 years? 8 years is a long time to be married. Can you give us a little background? Were you guys because I know Lady Carr, but I don't know the relationship. But how long were you guys together before you got married?
Well, we're married for 8 years. We've been dating. She has the exact number. But we have been dating.
Where is she at? Can she join us?
She's actually working. Yeah, she works 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Tell her we miss her.
Definitely. She'll definitely be happy to join on the next conversation you guys have. But we were dating since 2000 and I want to say 14, 13, around that time. Yeah. So we met. I worked security at a hospital, and she was an EMT in the city that I worked in the hospital. And she would come in, she would bring the craziest patients, the patients that will fight people and choke people and just a bunch of mess. I loved seeing her when she came, but then again, I hated seeing her when she came because I know I had to tackle or wrestle or medicate somebody because she was always bringing the quote unquote the crazies. But she got out her truck. When I saw her, I thought she was beautiful. I was on the tail end of another relationship, so I didn't really jump on it immediately. But then after, we became friends first. We'd talk periodically. There was a cultural thing with it because my wife is Puerto Rican and Dominican. She's Afro-Latina. She has Taino Indian, and African roots. So, she's getting the experience with Black love, from me, which comes in layers, based on my background, based on, you know, all the stuff that I've encountered and experienced and seen. You know, our marriage, it's a daily process. You know, it's something that's worth fighting for. It's something that you have to cultivate. There has to be, you know, there's never it's all said and done and that's it, we're married. You know, it's something that has to be worked at, just like fitness, right? You know, I've lost one time in my life, I lost 60 pounds and then got comfortable and gained it all back, you know. So that's the same thing with marriage. It has to be worked at. There's grace, there's love, you know, a lot of empathy, also sympathy, you know. But at the end of the day, you definitely have to create things, not just children physically, but also, you know, children like my wife and I. We also share another business called Tasty Cups. You know,
I
she's
forgot about
involved.
that. Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's something that was in her mind, but we work together. You know, she created it. I work with her nonprofit, Tender Loving Totes, as well. That we do together. You know, like if she ever feels like she don't want to do it, I'm there. You know, I push it like it's my thing, but it's hers. And also the ministry as well. You know, so we're partners in this. And you know, that's the blessing. We just cultivated it and birthed something outside of just our children. But just something that we can use and work towards together. Now, as far as Black love is concerned, you know, based on, like I said, my experience is different. Like I said, because my wife, she's not African American, she's, you know, Latino, Taino, African roots. She's Black. I believe I just throw it on there. Our children are, you know, they're mixed, of course, but you know, she appreciates my culture and I appreciate her culture. You know, the thing about Black love that is important, though, however, because of our history, through slavery and things of that nature, trying to find that kind of that traditional thing in your relationship, right? Because you got some couples that celebrate Kwanzaa, you got some couples that, you know, that have different types of points of views, and because of our history, you know, it's like we don't have, you know, the traditions and the cultures that we're supposed to have. You know what I'm saying? You know, some people come from broken homes, broken marriages, just like everybody else. But with the Black family, you know, it has been treacherous for us. You know, separating the families was a law. It was something that was already established. And so, you know, my wife can definitely tell you about Black love. I can tell you, like I said, through my experience, through what I've seen. You know, I've seen marriages break up. I've seen marriages stick together. You know, that's one thing I try in my mixed marriage, is to make sure that there is emphasis on both cultures, right? Not just my Black culture with my children, but also, you know, the Spanish culture, you know, and that we have to definitely put the relevance there. But my Black people, man, there's so much power, you know, in our identity, and it cannot go to waste. And that should be shown in our romance, in our marriages, in our relationship. Now, it's easier said than done. That's real cute, real poetic, right? You know, a lot of flowers and lilies and butterflies, you know. But the reality of situation is, I think if we understood the history of our people and how keeping the families connected and making sure we don't lose our identity, you know, is a major, major part of Black love. It's a major part of it. You can't lose yourself. This is who we are, not just, you know, through the social struggles and all of that stuff, but just spiritually, mentally, you know, physically, you know. We have to keep our identity intact. It can't go to waste. We can't wash it. My wife would tell you I would never lose my identity. Never. You know, I'm gonna be pumping my black fist to the day I die. That's just me. You know, and I'm going to connect with people of my people of the struggle as well, and also the success as well. So, yeah.
That was good. That was good. I want to welcome Mr. Bradshaw to the Zoom line. Thank you for joining. We're talking about Black love. So, ladies, did anyone want to touch on what Pastor Carr was talking about in regards to Black love? What has your experiences been, if you feel comfortable with Black love? So what are y'all thoughts after Pastor Carr said anything? And then Mr. Bradshaw, you can chime in, because I know you're single, right? Or is there love in the air?
Just put that brother right on blast.
It's not in the air over here. Unless it's Mother Nature, it's not over here. Sorry.
You and Mother Nature, okay.
That's the only love I got for her. That's Black love.
He said COVID's in the air. He didn't say love's in the air. COVID's in the air.
Right.
We trying to avoid toxic love. That's what we trying to do.
No, that's right, Pastor Carr. Ooh,
amen
Jesus.
to that.
Right.
I'm far from toxic, but I mean, Black love, I feel like it's a and not to, interrupt your segment of asking questions, but I feel like even though I'm not in love, that don't mean I don't know nothing about it or what I want to inspire what my Black love should be. But I feel like Black love is it's deeper than just the word. It's literally an action. And I mean, not the toxic action, but the action of when she's not able to express herself, when her man knows what's wrong or not even understand, but able to just like, you know what, she needs a hug. She's not able to, she could cry it out, but it's like, I just don't know how to express myself or to put it into words. Then, as you say, the Black love is like, you know what, I understand. It's all right, just bring it in. Let me just show you just enough comfortness where when his time is right or later on during the day, hey baby, do you think I could talk to you right quick? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Like, because it's in that moment she just needs some type of comfort. But also, like I said, I think on both parties, male and female, Black love is literally has to be, you have to be strong mentally. And I'm very big on mental health. I don't want no, it sounds, wrong for me to say this, but if you're not mentally healed, I don't want no parts with you, because I'm not a therapist. I'm not.
My. Wow. That was deep.
Because you like, if you're not mentally healed, how can you be in love with anybody? I don't want to deal with none of your baggage. No, when you come with me, I'm gonna make sure I'm right with myself, so that when I'm able to talk to you, I'm not, yeah, I've been through so and so. Like, it's not, I'm not using that as a stepping stone to get better. Like, oh, but babe, you know what I've been through? I don't want to hear none of that. We are growing together. Our mental stage of healing to each other, and our focus is to be on our relationship, not on, oh, I can't, I need some time. I don't know who I am. I need to find myself. I don't want to hear none of that. We should literally know who we are, know what we want, know what we want to experience, so that when we get into this love thing with each other, our focus is on building the foundation of our love for Blackness. I'm all for it, but it ain't over here though.
Go ahead, Pastor Carr. I seen your hand was up.
After all of that, it ain't over there for you. Okay, all right. No, I wanted to just to quickly say one of his points that he made. When you're talking about Black love, you have to bring up ingrained trauma, whether inside or something that happened previously to an individual. You've never heard a group of women besides Black women that go through the process of self-esteem in regards to their skin color, in regards to their attitudes, in regards of they're so independent that they're toxic. I think the greatest minority is Black women. Now, I say that because of the pay scale, the society, even in church, they are the minority. Beyond white women, beyond black men, it's the black woman. And so with all that against them, with all that against black women, you're going to have a black woman that has a complex some way, somehow, and not a bad one, right? I'm not going to just label every black woman as someone that has a complex, but even their drive might be a turnoff to somebody else. Because, bro, as a man, sometimes, man, we just get mad sometimes when kind of the women outdo us. We'll be offended. We'll be mad. She get a job, we don't, right? Like when she gets ahead and we don't. And we talk about the man on our neck, but she's achieving. And being able to handle a strong woman takes some mental strength even for the man. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all different types of situations, man, that's going on. Like the culture is so different now. With women, they're the breadwinners in certain instances. Especially if you deal with a woman that has a child, that's a single parent, that's going through things, and all of a sudden, now I'm in a relationship with an individual that I kind of have to minimize my push. Because as you said, I don't want to deal with nobody with no baggage. But some people label baggage for a black woman for being too strong. And I'm like, that ain't
Talk about
baggage.
it.
That's survival.
Well, let me say this. And I'm of course, I was raised by a black woman. So the independence of a black woman does not fear me. I'm not intimidated by a strong black woman, because it shows that she can hold her own, even if I am her man and I happen to lose my job one day, or I'm not able to get a job within 3 months, whatever the case may be. But to show that she has the strength to carry both of us, it's like, all right, you hold us down, but I'm not gonna be there where I lose the job. Now she's gonna take care of both of us. I'm always just lay back. Nah, she's holding us down but I must still make the biggest effort to say, hey, let me go out and do this. And as a woman, she should never put her man down because, like, oh, you know how they throw this stuff in our faces, like, oh, I'm the one that's working, you ain't. No, you don't do that, because again, as he said, the mental health. So within, it's like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna encourage you. I'm gonna look these jobs up for you. I'm gonna hook up your resume, whatever I can to encourage you to get your job. So when you do get that job, it's now we're collectively earning, and now we're back where we once was, or even better. But like I said, it's the mental health that it's very, very very imperative for me. And like you said, the baggage. Uh, I've been around a lot of women who have children, and there's nothing more, because I was raised by a single parent. Well, my father ended up my life. It's the respect level is heavy. I've seen a lot of women, in Massachusetts, there's a lot of single mothers with children, and it's like it 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 molds me to be better. I had to understand what my father was like. Be better than me means, as in not having so many baby mothers and these many children. I should be able to want one child, one mother, with as many children she could produce with me. But again, we have to be better as I feel like being better as black men and as black women. We have to again encourage each other, because it's not often that black women encourage black men, and it's very often that black men encourage a black woman, because they're so, and as you said, Pastor Carr, many men so are hurt that they put down black women. I don't care how much attitude she have. I would never disrespect a black woman, and especially with that B word. You know what I'm talking about? I don't go there, because the emphasis is like black women is literally, like you say, they are it. And for me, and when I see my friends put down a black, I'm like, what's wrong with you, bro? Don't do that. Don't, because when you do that, now that destroys her mental, that destroys her emotionally, physically. Now she can't even heal herself to even take care of her child because she's broken. But I'm all for black love. I'm just, I'm here for it.
I'm glad you guys spoke. I'm glad we have some men in the room. I want to invite Daryl, who just joined us. Thanks for joining, Daryl. It's good to see you. I know Audra, she had her hand raised. What did you want to talk about? And Monique and Shaniqua, please. Y'all can jump in if y'all want to too. Because we'll talk about Black love for a little bit more, and then we'll go to the Black business. But Audra?
I was just touching on kind of what a little bit of Mr. Bradshaw said, my cuz. I'm glad to see you, cuz. But you stupid. As far as Black love, like I feel like it's hard to find. Like you can't find, well, you can find
true Black love.
Black man, but it's hard to find and for it to be real. Like you get that connection on multiple different levels. Like as far as like a spiritual connection with that person, that's hard to find with Black men or maybe any man in general. And it's sad, and it's like hard. Like you find a connection with someone and like you don't want to push them to you know to you know go to your church or do or be godly or however or spiritual, but you find a person and you get all those other connections, but that is like not there. And it's like, is that, I don't know, how do you fix that? How do you work that? I don't know.
I think
Right.
I think Audra, I'm sorry I didn't raise my hand, but I'm like that kid that just don't listen in class.
And you're the host, you're a co-host. You can speak whenever you need to.
I think when you're and I learned this as I got older, right? When we're starting to date initially, you the conversation that you're having with the individual, it doesn't seem shallow until you further get into the relationship with the person, right? So what I mean is I made sure that when my wife and I were talking, like I know her situation with her parents in the past and their relationships, trauma. So I know when you first dating somebody, you ain't talking about no trauma, who choked who broke up with who, what home was broken, and right? You talk about let's get some hot wings. Let's go, you know what I'm saying? When we going to chill, like you cute, you smell good. All right, word, bet. All right, we going. But like with the serious stuff, right? This is the time and really the culture where that's important, where you're really talking about the serious stuff. Like you literally have to make a verbal contract before you sign with a commitment with people, to know, as my bro said about, baggage, and to know their mental and to know their attitude. You don't want to find that they're verbally abusive, in an argument when y'all paying a mortgage with each other. You don't want to find that out. You don't want to find out that they're sexually addicted and, it was cute when y'all was together initially, y'all doing whatever, but then y'all live with him. He wanted every day, all day. I'm like, yo, I got burnout. It hurts. Stop. Get out of here. Chill. Like bounce. But you know what I'm saying? Like you want to get to know, you know what I'm saying? Like to have those conversations. You don't want to find out when you move in with him that he don't watch his drawers good. Like you don't want to find that out too late. You want to get all that out now. Like no shallow conversations, man, because I'm telling you, it's not hard to find. You just got to ask the questions. Do you wash your drawers? Do you brush your teeth? Are you abusive? What's your view about marriage? What's your view about kids? Let me see your feet. Like all that stuff, it matters, right? It matters. Because if you don't find that stuff out, everybody gonna show you they good. Everybody, until something crazy happens.
Right.
And then, then you got to fight some type of strength, when drama happens, and that marriage it's about literally overcoming and loving and embracing. That stuff is important. That stuff is really important. But if you don't ask the right questions, worried about what you're going to do on Valentine's Day and on my birthday, and he ain't called. That's cool. You're right. He should. But it's those red flags, man, that you don't really see until you fully commit, and you don't want to do that. You want to get that stuff out now. Like when me and my wife went out, we were talking at first, and I told her I was a minister. And it's pressure for you to date someone that's a minister. And like I said, my situation is a little different. So I had to kind of tread softly on the pressure I was putting on my wife, to move with me, because it is pressure. You out there doing your thing, and all of a sudden, you a man of the cloth. I'm like, dang, I might burn up just talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the thought, So we had to have those tough conversations on a lot of different things. But if your conversation is still just shallow on shallow stuff, it's like, nah, I'm not worried about just sex with you. I get sex with anybody. What's your, I don't want a PowerPoint presentation, but, are you verbally abusive? Can we work?
Are you a cheater?
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for
would
you.
Somebody admit that? Like, that they're a cheater? Like those certain things, like would they admit those things?
You won't know.
Right.
It and you find out.
Right. That's the truth.
But I feel like if you speak from, like you said, our conversations, be transparent. I know my thing is
some of these men aren't transparent, Lance, and you know it. They ain't transparent.
I'm well aware, but everyone's not.
Everybody ain't like you, Mr. Bradshaw.
We cannot go into our these relationships or friendships or building the foundation of it to get to where we want to, expecting someone to be who we want them to be. No one's gonna love you the way you want them to love you. They're gonna love you the way you need to be loved. So if our conversations are gonna be transparent or be outspoken, just speak up. I mean, if you feel some type of way, don't. The thing is, I feel like as both parties, we tend to hide our feelings. If something happens at that moment, talk about it. If you're not able to talk about it, say we're going to discuss it later on and learn to comprehend, because we can understand and not comprehend anything. But again, we have to be at a point where speak up when it happens. If you know what's going on, why, who, we don't talk about it and you go to bed angry, then you wake up the next morning like very agitated, like, oh, now you can't stand your little significant other because of you didn't want to talk about what happened yesterday. Because if it happens yesterday, come on, let's discuss this now. I don't care how long we stay up, we're gonna discuss this and get through it. Because I don't want to deal about it.
You might be one of a kind, Mr. Bradshaw. I mean, I'll let Pastor Carr speak. He has but I want to welcome another Joey. Good to see you, Joey.
I just don't want to be in that space where what happened yesterday, we're gonna talk about it. No, we're gonna handle this now, because tomorrow we should wake up the next morning and have different, better input or learn from our mistakes from yesterday and be like, yo, look, I know yesterday was a little rocky for us, but we're gonna get better. We're gonna not step on each other's throat. And yes, I know it's not promised, Miss Stevens. I'm just saying.
No, but that's why you shouldn't go to bed mad at one another, because tomorrow is never promised. If you get it out the same night, everything will be okay. What if one of y'all don't wake up the next morning? You know what I mean? So you shouldn't go to bed mad at your significant other. And Pastor Carr, can I please ask you a question? Since you dated, Erica, and she wasn't in the church, did she ever think that our church was a cult? Because when we as women, I don't know about the men, but we as women I done came across a lot of us that have dated outside men, and they think our church is a cult. Did she think of that? Like, what did she think of the church when you first started dating her?
She thought it was different. But the way I presented the church, and even still to this day, even though like I said, I'm not there, but the way I presented it, she appreciated the value of it. It was a lot of hard work, of course, because you couldn't find nobody to make the stuff that we wear. I mean, you couldn't go like to Lord and Taylor and be like, yo, let me get a brown suit and a blue blouse. Like, they just don't make it. And everybody that actually sews is like a myth. You got to go to such and such from Brooklyn somewhere to make it, and you like, I can't find nobody to make these shirts, man. Like, but initially, yeah, she didn't think it was a cult, because the way I presented it and the way my church was, we didn't operate like cultish, right? And that term cult, like I said, everybody wearing the same stuff, things of that nature. I mean, the Army's not a cult.
Right.
The police department's not a cult. They have rules and regulations and stuff like that too. So I mean, like I said, it's the way you present it, and also, like I said, I had to tread softly on that, because it's even pressure for people that was born and raised in the church, to do certain things and to act a certain way. And then when life outside of the church hits you and you don't have no grasp of the word, then it's going to be really difficult to manage and deal with. So, but I wanted to say something real quick. Somebody mentioned something about a person will never be transparent with you. That's because, man, if you're really transparent with the person, I mean, what you used to do and stuff like that, man, let me ask y'all ladies a question. If a guy tells you, I used to date men before I met you, could you handle that? Could you handle that?
No, sir.
No,
no, sir.
no.
Not at all.
So what you talking about? What y'all talking about transparency for? Like, there's just certain things, and Joey, you know it. That's why you smiling. It's just certain.
Oh, I don't know nothing about that, brother. Wait a minute.
It's just certain things that should be on a need to know basis, right? I mean, of course, because some people do damage control. Like, nah, I'm not going to do that, man, because I don't want to mess this up, because I don't know if the individual I really want can mentally handle my past. So I'm all for it, shining the light and being truthful and stuff like that. And then some people were like, nah, don't deal with them. They can handle your past. Nah, man, because everything I'm trying to tell you, you just, if someone dated you, like, yo, man, I just got out of jail, man. I killed like 9 people, man. And you're like, oh,
I'm more comfortable with that than the first scenario that you presented.
But yeah, I get it. Yeah, I got what you said. That's bad too. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, like, so, I mean, you want transparent, or you want truth with a little bit of tint in it, like a little tint truth?
Yeah.
Tint is crazy sounding, but that's an amazing theory. Truth with a tint.
I wanted to invite Unit 5-4. Is that you, Chris? I'm just trying to know who's on the line.
Yeah, Asia, I'm sorry. I didn't change my name. I actually use
no, you're good. You're good. I figured it was you, Chris.
Yeah, I use Zoom call for work. So yeah, my unit is 54.
Hi, Chris is from Mississippi. So we're talking about Black love, if you wanted to chime in on that. And then in a few minutes, we'll be talking about Black businesses.
Okay, Black love. Yeah, I kind of, well, of course, that question that the guy before me was speaking about, that's a question that I've asked I've asked my sister that before. I said, what if a guy tells you that he's dated a guy before? Would you be okay with that? And my sister is a very open-minded person, so she started giving me these scenarios about that. What if the guy was molested as a kid, or what if the guy, had identity issues and things like that? So I asked her the question again. I said, so if you consider those things, would that be a yes or no? She said it's a possibility depending on the situation. But that's the kind of chime in on what the guy was just speaking about. But general Black love. I mean, Audra, y'all know how I feel about Black people, Black love. Very pro Black. People very pro Black love. I was trying to catch this picture of this guy today, and I was in a half shell, having some oysters today with my cousin, and there was a guy had on a shirt. He says the shirt says, "Protect Black women at all costs." Try to get a picture of that shirt to send it to you earlier. But yeah, Black love is it's very, very hard to find the true definition of Black love. And when I think about Black love, I think about my grandmother and grandfather and how strong their relationship was. And I remember my grandmother telling me once my grandfather passed away, she said, it's not going to be long before I'll leave you. And I said, what do you mean? She says, the other part of me is gone. She said, I know that I won't be able to be here long without you. And it wasn't about 2 months difference. She did just what she said. She passed away.
That's how it happens.
I've had the same situation happen.
Yeah, so when I think about Black love, I think about the strength behind Black love and the examples of Black love that I've had in my life to show me what true Black love is about. And we're missing that. We're missing Black love, which is the reason why I push my sister and the people around me, women in general, not to date outside the race, to give Black men a chance, because there's some breakdowns, and I try to be transparent with my siblings, because I have mostly sisters. I have one brother, the one brother's deceased, but I have another living brother, and I try to tell my sisters to be transparent about or open to communication with Black men in general, because Black men deal with a lot of things unspoken. So you have to be in a mind, in a headspace to understand and be open to truly understand what a man is trying to disclose, but still needs to be open with you about. Because I remember, like I said, the example that I had was my grandmother and grandfather. So I just remember those conversations that they would have, where there was just openness and transparency across the board. They didn't hide.
That's what we was talking about, Chris.
Yeah, they didn't hide things. And I asked my sister about that, because I have a sister that's married. Next, I said, so do you and brother-in-law have same accounts? She was like, hell no, we don't have the same account. I said, why not? My grandmother and grandfather had joint bank accounts for years. Years and years and years. I remember the bank card that they had both of their names on it. It's just a breakdown amongst Black people when it comes to Black love, and there's definitely something that we're missing as a Black race, is Black love, and I believe it comes from a place of bitterness across the board, where Black people have not been shown the true examples of Black love. They're not been able to live out true Black love because they don't have an example to go by. A lot of times, people that are successful, they're closed. The people that are successful at anything, they have a blueprint, right? We don't have a blueprint to show us how Black love is supposed to be, or a lot of people miss that. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Black love. And I'm sorry, Chris. I like to be on time for stuff, but I realize
it's okay,
about
Chris.
the time zone difference.
I already know
it was kind of a struggle, but
cool.
I'm here.
Yo,
yes,
he had
thank you, Chris, for showing up.
He had the most Mississippi dinner experience. He had oysters. That had oysters, and that was amazing. But I agree with what he said, because I had the same situation with my grandparents. It's that long relationship, like when you've been married since you were 22, 23, y'all dated when you were teenagers, and then all of a sudden when y'all are 80 years old, then one your spouse passes away. And my grandfather's reaction when his spouse passed away, when his wife passed away, he was like, well, what the hell do I do from here? Like, those was literally the words that came out of his mouth. What the hell do I do from here? And just like my man Chris, not Unit 54, but my man Chris said, 2 months, 3 months later, my grandfather was like he touched my grandmother's casket and was just like, y'all see you soon. At the funeral, it was just like, y'all see you soon. We thought he was just like being sentimental or whatever. Old man meant that because his heart was broken. His heart was broken. After 50, 60 years of marriage, that's it, bro. That's it. You out of here. And I completely concur with what Mr. Cooper said, not Unit 54. But I completely concur with what he said, man. After, and I think that those kind of grandparents, now you got grandparents, as Bernie Mac used to say, grandparents 32, 33. But those kind of grandparents are long
I was
gone.
gonna say something about that, but I didn't want to be offensive because, but it's the truth, so I don't care about it. I mean, I do care. I don't want to offend anybody, but I have to tell the truth either way. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I don't want to bring my grandparents' age in the factor, but my grandmother was 97 when she passed away last year. My mom is she'll be 60 this year. I'm just 28. I have my father who's 64. You know, I had older parents and I had true grandparents is what I call them. Because they were wise and older and they knew stuff and they had been around long enough to know things. It was a difference. Even with my mom, she's like I said, matter of fact, she just had her 60th birthday last week. We're going to talk about to be 60. She is 60. And even with my mom being of age, she still is not as wise as my grandmother. And I was going to say something about the age difference because that makes a difference. Like you said, there's so many young grandparents now, and I try not to be so hard on it because I had a sister who had my nephew at 15 years old, and God, how that changed the dynamic of my mindset because I'm like, she was the first young woman to have a kid in my family, and it was different, you know, coming from a family who you know, my mom was what 30 years, almost 30. You know, she was 32 when she had me, 31 when she got pregnant with me, 32 when she had me. So yeah, it's a difference in age. The age definitely is a factor in the situation.
I think that those like that generation of grandparents, those like 1920s, 1930s, that age group of people, that was, as Pastor Carr was saying, Pastor Aaron was saying, like that was the last generation of like genuinely real, settle down early, stick around forever. That was the last real generation of that.
Yeah.
Everything else was subject to change, and that's unfortunate. But that was the last real era of like of permanency in the Black families, you know, and to think that was just coming off of like the heels of slavery, that was just coming off the heels of all of that.
So I have a question. So what do you all think that happened? What do you think happened to make us get to this point? Because I'm inclusive of this. We're all inclusive of this because we're the younger generation. So what do y'all think that transpired between time that allowed us to get to this point?
Drugs.
I think because it's
drugs.
I think because as women, we think that all men are cheaters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's our mind frame. Like, oh, I'm gonna get with this guy and he's gonna cheat on me. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of stopped us.
I agree
from
with that.
loving.
We think like that.
Seriously.
But that's
even
why men
going
out here
back,
have
like, to the
second
fact that,
kids and second families.
like, going back to like our grandparents or our older generation, they should be teaching these men and these women how to be, you know, in relationships for long term. You know, I think that's an issue. Teaching hasn't been done for these Black men.
I think also the
That's true.
importance of a long relationship has been devalued. Like Pastor Carr was saying, and I agree with him. Drugs, a lot of different circumstances. Like there are like sometimes I remember somebody had said it, like, you know, it's so much let me not say that because that sounds a little wild, but it's so much stuff going on, right? Like you could get help from this place and help from that place as a single parent, and then like you feel like you don't need your spouse or blah blah blah, like, and then like the other person who is who is out and about, like they feel like it's just not entirely necessary to be with someone when you can just co-parent, and it's like I don't know if grandparents of old or like people from another generation would have accepted that kind of behavior, because that just wasn't like a good option for them.
I think another major issue why the family dynamic is broken and damaged. Really, it's culturally too. A woman can benefit more being single than she would being married. You can get government assistance being single, literally. And if you're with the man and you both are making low income, they might say no. You might be rejected for benefits. Like society applauds the breakup, and I say of the Black family and Hispanic families, because we're majority when you look at the percentage of people that's on welfare. Yeah, we have poor whites, right? But man, we poor. we're poor. The inner city, that area, and so when you applaud or gift a family without the other individual in the family, with benefits and aid and assistance and all the stuff like that, what's your drive to want to be with them? And then on top of that, outside of that, it's the dysfunction. So of course you have the foundational piece, right? We just gonna stick together, right? But then when you have this mental dysfunction and relationship dysfunction, some of the things that we as Black people, we don't learn or we don't hear about, the domestic violence of the past and the women who suffer silently, right? But you still got to have the kids and still cook, still clean, the societal norms, the woman's role type stuff, is another issue, because we as men sometimes, I don't want to beat up on men, but we as men sometimes we don't do our part to effectively cultivate that family dynamic, because there's a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of dysfunction, in Black relationship, not just Black, but just in white too. The Italians as well. I know a lot of Italian men who beat on their wives, and I guarantee you that pot of spaghetti gonna be on that table the next day. Like physically, or ravioli, whatever you want to eat, but that food is gonna be there, right? Because women of that time would just learn to just stick out and deal with it. Even molestation was a major thing, and it's still a major thing to this day. You just sweep the stuff under the rug. And so that foundation of just stick together and be a family gets tarnished because of dysfunction. That's a major, major cultural gifts that applaud families breaking up, and also cultural dysfunction. Those are the two things, man, that has messed up the longevity of a loving relationship. The world applauds it and gifts it and loves it and gives out benefits for breaking up the family. And then it's just cultural dysfunction that breaks up the family, I believe.
This was really good. And I know we wanted to touch on Black businesses. I didn't want to cut it off, but I think that we might have to have a part two. Audra, do you want to do this next week? Like, how are you feeling? I don't even know if she's there, but I just want to thank everyone for getting on. Joey, did you want to say something before we go?
I was saying something to the point that Pastor Carr was saying.
Go ahead.
I was skating around it, but since he said it, I'll say it. Working in a homeless shelter, they call it a family shelter, but for the most part, there are 95%. And we have a full facility with 4 floors of a building, and it's full, but the 95% of it is women with children. Very rarely do you see man with children. And the women with children who maybe aren't working are um getting vouchers to stay at the shelter, at the facility, through various family services and whatever it may be, but they're getting um though that help. And then also, even from that experience, they're also getting help to move on to the next level. Like they're in and out within 6 months. There is, like Pastor Carr was saying, a very tangible yeah, reason for them being able, women, pardon me, women being able to say, well, look, I don't need them. I can struggle it out for 6 months, and then I can be on my own feet. Me and my kids can be on my own feet, and we don't need you. So I completely agree. And just to add a little bit more color to what Pastor Carr was saying, that's all I had to say. And I love the idea of coming back next week because I was late too.
Yes. So, yeah, because what? Pastor Carr was on time. Monique, Shaniqua, we was all on time, Joey, but you're forgiven. And I love
Pastor
you.
Carr, can you absolve me of my sins, sir? Blessed art thou, O Lord, King of the universe. Thank you.
That's my absolve hand.
Oh my gosh. Pastor Carr, did you want to give any last words? Because I think we'll do this again for sure next Sunday if you're available, because we still want you to be our special guest, because we want you to touch on the Black businesses and other little topics as well.
No, I just wanted to, like I said, I enjoyed the conversation. I'll let you know about the next conversation. That Black love piece is it's hard to minimize it to 10, 15 minutes, and
yeah,
it's something that is so many different dynamics and views on it. And I see both sides. I see, like I said, the degrading of men. I see the abuse of women, and I see, a lot that is applauded and gifted because of dysfunction. I see a lot of different things that just messes up just our culture as a people, and it's good to have these conversations so we can find out what to do and what not to do. My wife, she is dealing with someone that's Black. So, I'm her experience, and she's dated Black men before and they were not good experiences. She said she would never date someone Black again until she met me.
you're right.
From her
Wow.
experiences. Yeah, from her experiences. So it is definitely something that the labels get placed on us on a lot of different things, and we have to really live out the true meaning and the beauty of our culture, man. So I definitely appreciate this conversation.
Thank you so much for those words. Audra, did you have anything to say to close us out? And thank you again, Chris. So we'll probably be doing this next week if Pastor Carr is available. If not, we'll be on Clubhouse, but I'm hoping Pastor Carr will be available. Audra, did you want to say something to close us out?
I want to thank everybody, especially Pastor Carr, for doing this for us. We appreciate it. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw. Thank you, Chris, Shaniqua. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. And if everyone, if you're on, you don't have to turn on your camera, but I just want to take a shot of everybody that's on today. Just a quick pic. You don't have
that
to
was
get.
Good. Thank you. Thank
Of
you.
course,
Audra.
Mr. Bradshaw. Funny, Lance. You're funny. Just 1 second. I need to pull this up.
Doing that. Dang, I wish I wasn't in the dark.
Put a light on. Put a light on.
She got that little Greyhound bus light. That you gotta press and
Hey, yo, the Passover bus light.
Yeah, she got that.
That's
little,
exactly what it is. Keep it on the light. I want some lighting.
Okay, come on, everybody. I'm doing it now. Smile. Thank you, everybody. Hold on. Sis, you do this better than me. Hold on. One more.
Then you go to you in college, honey.
No, like you did it. You showed me how to do it. 1 second. One more.
the iPhone stuff, man.
No, I'm on my laptop actually.
It's that
Okay, ready, everybody?
iLap.
Okay, you
stuff.
got it. Smile.
Got it.
You did it. You did it. Oh my goodness.
Good job. Good job.
You go, girl.
I'm cracking up.
Audra, so I have a question.
Thank you, everyone.
What time is it your time right now?
It's 8 over here by me.
It's 8.
So we're doing the call was 1 hour.
I can't even turn it off.
I got it.
Audra,
I'm sorry. What did you say, Chris?
the call was 1 hour today.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna try to do another one next week.
It'll be 6 p.m.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week. Love y'all.
I'm about to continue watching.
Love y'all.
Whoop some behind, so I'll say peace.